Hello and welcome back to Let's Get Digital. This is Megan Nager, and I am so excited because I have Sam Staley on with me, and he has a really fascinating background. So I'm excited for him to join us and talk about what he does, marketing, etc. So, Sam, thank you so much for coming on. It's great to have you. And could you just introduce yourself and give us a bit of your background and what you're currently doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Megan, for having me. I'm super excited to talk today. I guess my background, I'll try to keep it focused on marketing. Maybe it's important with context too. I'll go way back. I went to the Citadel for college. I got a psychology degree. I got that to go to law school, got into law school, got a job offer at the same time in banking, took that. Fast forward in my banking career, I had some problems around technology I needed to solve. So, in solving that, I had an idea for my first company. I quit my job within a week of figuring out what I wanted to do and jumped off the cliff into entrepreneurship, and am still free falling towards the ground without a net. I'm hoping one day to build a net to catch myself. But that's a little bit of fast forward in my background, which I think is to say it's diverse. And I just pull on lots of things to try to accomplish whatever is in front of me at the time.
I love that. And I'm also an entrepreneur. So I feel like entrepreneurs have certain things in common. And ironically, I also was going to go to law school and then, I was like, I don't want to do this.
It's still back there.
Same, literally same.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
I freak out. I'm like, should I just go to law school again? But yeah, so very fascinating. And I relate to the entrepreneur thing that you got to wear a bunch of hats. That being said, what are your position right now? I know that you work with, or you started Event.Gives.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct. And that's a great example of it's a company I was never going to start. It came from me selfishly going to a silent auction at my kid's school and not wanting to write my name on the paper all night and keep checking it back and forth. So I just asked them, I said, we have phones in our pockets. Can we just text our bids in? Does that exist? It didn't exist. So to solve my own problem, I created a little text bot to allow us to do that. And it helped them double what they'd ever raised. So that, I won't bore you with all the details, but that led to me saying, okay, there's something here. Let me go start solving problems in this world of fundraising. And I think we're 6-7 years in it. I'm still doing it. There's a lot of problems here. It's a wonderful playground of finding solutions to problems. So I'm still focused on that. I have some other things, but that's a big focus of mine.
That's super smart. My parents are both very into auctions, and so now can anyone do that for the most part at most auctions?
It's a thing, yeah. Okay. So early on, it's funny, bringing it back to marketing, early on, our competitor was paper. And so we were having to market technology versus paper at the time, right? Mm-hmm. Now, everybody does text to bid. Technology is proliferant. So now it's what's our next foe that we need to battle and market against? Competitors, other processes. Are the people too old at a particular event to use technology? So all those things bounce around your head to say, I think not only how do we market, but what are we marketing and who are we marketing it to are very important questions to answer.
Yeah, actually jumping right into it. So when you started this, you said you were competing against paper, which is funny, but how did you approach like the marketing aspect of it and getting it out?
I think at the time, and this is something I still gravitate towards, we did the math on that event and a few events subsequent to say, okay, you raised a lot more money. How much more? And the math actually told us it was 47% more. And I think a lot of people would go, we increased revenue by 50%. But I think it's very important to use that number. 50 sounds like we're saying we're going to help you a lot. 47 sounds like we actually did the research and it's a real number. So I think that little nuance is a big difference. And it was also true. It was 47% that we increased. And that's what we used to say, get off paper, automate your processes, and you'll raise 47% more.
Wow. Yeah, I like that. People tend to round up with stuff, even like when we're showing client success stories or case studies, it's easy to just say, oh, 90%, but it's
Right.
like the more realistic, people are going to actually buy it. So,
And make it be true also, right?
and it's true. You're not lying.
Sometimes that's important.
Yeah, that's the most important part. Yeah. So today, what form of marketing do you currently use to get your product out there or network, et cetera? I talk a lot about traditional marketing versus digital marketing.
Yep.
I own a digital marketing company.
Yep.
So a lot of my job is I deal with our clients for the most part. And so a lot of it is explaining them, especially if they're older, that traditional marketing is a bit passe and there's
Yep.
everyone's always on their phone, tablet, etc. So digital marketing is the new way of marketing. Do you find that you usually leverage digital marketing? Do you use traditional aspects of marketing at all, like billboards or print, anything like that?
Yeah, no. So I'm gonna lean on you a little bit to slap me when I'm blurring those lines, because
That's
as a
fine.
layperson,
They're easily
I'm gonna
blurred.
try,
So
yeah, to make sure what's digital, what's traditional, and I think they're blurring themselves. Just digital is becoming traditional at the same time, right?
yes.
So I can easily say we do not use billboards. That's an easy one. But I do think for us, I think it falls in the digital realm. Email marketing has been our
Yep.
bread and butter. I think it's really, if you can find that voice on social media, it's really great. It's never been a thing for us. We just
Mhm.
haven't found it. Maybe it's not there. But email's been great for us. And within email, for me, I think authenticity wins every time. We don't focus on, let's send a beautiful email, the right template, the right shapes and colors and pictures. For me, it's, I want this to either truthfully be from me or appear that I sat down and typed an email directly to you, Megan, about something I think is important. And so that's how we approach our voice and our emails. And it's served us really well to keep it really simple. Here's something I think is important, and here's a single question or a single call to action that I'd like you to do to alert us that we can help you.
I
So I
love
think
that.
that's digital.
Yes, it's definitely digital. And it's funny
Perfect.
because the first thing we'll recommend for clients, if they're not already doing it, is email marketing. And people are really shocked by that because they're like, who opens their emails anymore?
Right.
But you're forgetting that people, even if you're just seeing the name in your inbox over and over, it's getting that association in
Yep.
their mind. And email has a huge return on marketing. So I think that's great. And I love what you said about authenticity. That's huge. And I think a lot of people forget that, especially on social media when they want everything tailored to be really perfect looking. I think authenticity always wins.
Yeah. And a lot of times I treat myself as my client. And I think in
Mhm.
my own inbox, which is, people here are very scared of my inbox because it has a very large unread number. And I think, what emails have I opened in the past 30 days? And oftentimes and I get hit, a lot of my emails are VC, hey,
Mhm.
you want to sell a company, you want to exit? And I ignore all of them. But
Mhm.
very rarely I'll say, I recognize this email, this name, this guy's emailed me 42 times. And I'm going to
Wow.
open this one and see what he wants to say. And so repetition works eventually, I think, is the short of that.
That's so true. And yeah, for anyone out there who wants to give up on emailing, just keep going until somebody answers.
You will wear them down.
Don't be crazy, but yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. It's also, yeah, it's important to treat yourself like your own, like how you would treat your client. Like I say that
Right.
even for us. So you need to market yourself, even if you are doing marketing. So today, what is the type of, is it B2B? What type of marketing are you doing for the most part? You use email, but yeah, who are you trying to gain as like clients or yeah.
Yeah. So and I think this is important. We took some time in our company to say, who are we selling? Like, who are we, not really who we're selling to, who are we solving problems for? I think it's an important distinction. And once you know that, how does that person need or like to be talked to? And so that arrived at, in our world, we found out that the person we're solving problems for is this nice little old lady that we call Aunt Janice.
Okay.
And we know if we can build software that works for her, anyone can use it. And so if we're talking to Aunt Janice, she is an individual. So there's a B2C component that we want to talk directly to her, solve her problems. But what we found out also is in the companies that we want to help, that for us in our world, nonprofits, American Heart, ALS, all the big names you've heard of, guess who works there? Aunt Janice works there. So
Yeah.
we're also talking to her in both cases is the way I look at it. B2C or B2B, I think eventually you're landing in a person's inbox and you should treat it like that.
Yeah, I love that. Coming up with an exact archetype of someone you're marketing to is so
Right.
important instead of just this vague person that you don't really know. I love that you even named her. That's super smart.
Yes.
Yeah. So could you, I guess this is a good idea. How would you measure, if you can answer this, your return on investment in terms of digital marketing? Actually, let me ask first, are you really, for the most part, just using email? Do you use any other avenues?
We use a lot. So we do social media. I think if I'm candid, I don't think we get a lot of return out of it, but I think you can't not be there. So we're out there. I don't see a ton coming from that. I don't know how unique this is. I pat myself on the back for thinking this is a unique idea, but you'll probably tell me it's not. But I feel like we actually have gotten a lot of return out of participating in forums. So we'll find Facebook groups or Reddit groups where people are banding together to go, hey, this didn't work at my event. What do you all do? And we join those conversations. And again, keep it authentic. It's not, hey, here's a billboard of our product we're shoving down your conversation, but we can say, hey, we just had that problem at an event a month ago, and here's what we did to help solve it, right? And I think participating in forums, conversations has been another avenue for us that's worked well.
That's really smart. I think a lot of people don't talk about that or forget that's even a thing. Like we're a part
And it's
of
free.
And it's free, exactly. And it's a good thing. I like what you said in that you don't want to just come out and say, buy my product. It's more really creating a relationship with someone.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to market something.
Yeah. And another thing, this is traditional. So I'm going back.
No.
In all of my companies, certainly early on, but even late, a place I find to get great eyeballs is pitching. So actually pitch events, meaning like going to VCs and pitching your company as an investment. Those stages are often very large, and there's oftentimes traditional media covering these big pitch events. So it's a PR play basically, but you get tons of coverage, whether you're trying to sell it or not. Just being out there, it's another place to get your name out in the world and get a lot of coverage. So I feel like that's a non-traditional outlook on it.
For sure. And that's no one I've spoken to has even mentioned that. That's a really unique idea. If somebody was interested in doing, I know a bit about VC funding, but are there places where you can just do that? Do you need to know someone? If somebody was interested in doing it, how would they?
Yeah. So one of my other hats is I'm a mentor at an accelerator. And so the accelerator, every cohort or class, you apply and you pitch to get into the cohort. So they're tech stars. I won't throw out too many names, but it's easy to find accelerators, VCs, pitch competitions that are around tech events or whatever your world is. Maybe it's a different world than tech, but it's usually really easy to find some stage you can get on to compete against 4 other companies to see whoever wins an investment or just simply wins that pitch in whatever that forum was. So I think it's actually easy to find those stages to get on.
I love that. That's really great advice. And yeah, it reminds me, like in business school, we would do that and somebody wins $5,000 or whatever.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So the money's nice, but for me, the coverage, it's PR. That a lot of pitch events, there's 400 people in the audience, but lots of tech media is there covering that, and now you're in their story. So it just the splash effect of that, I think, is huge.
Definitely. And would you say if you are interested in doing that as like a marketing professional or CEO, are there other places besides just tech funding that you'd be able to?
Yeah, I think I go to that because I'm a technology guy. That's a lot of where my focus is. So it's easy to think like that. But I think in any industry, maybe you are maybe you have medical device sales
Mhm.
and you've got
Yeah.
some new widget. I'm sure there are stages of people interested in that world, or farming.
Yeah.
I think in every industry, there's probably some subset of a similar avenue.
Very smart. I love that. And speaking of PR, so we do some PR. It's which I worked in PR in like another lifetime, but do you leverage PR? I know you do the VC events, but is there
Yep.
any other have you found that PR helps with your marketing or getting out your name?
Yes, and as you're asking me that, I'm thinking how it has helped us greatly in the past, and I'm thinking in real time why we don't do it as much anymore. So we have in the past, and we actually had someone who was really great at it, and just that, I guess it's a traditional way of just reaching out to magazine
Yeah.
or publishers, authors, and just going, "Hey, here's an idea for a story."
Yep.
And what I learned was the best way to get in stories is to follow an author or follow a magazine
Mhm.
and notice what's the last article they wrote about? What are the
Mhm.
last three? And very often they're wanting to say, I did this article, and 6 months later, I'd love to do a follow-on article. And so looking for follow-on opportunities I found was the best to go, hey, I saw your article. I just showed you I'm interested in you.
Mhm.
And here's some data and an idea for a follow-on if you're thinking about that, because I know you are. That I think always proved really well to get us in articles pitching follow-on ideas.
Yeah, that's great advice, especially because some PR is pay to play, where you're just paying these
Right.
big publications to get you in, but that's a way more authentic way to do it,
Absolutely.
and you're
And,
not gonna shell up 50 grand for to be an entrepreneur.
and I may be wrong. I would never pay for an article because I think authenticity again wins.
Mm,
I think every article I've seen that's paid, it's been apparent to me, and I
yep,
just dismiss it.
yep,
Um, yeah,
because they're paying. Yeah, exactly.
right.
So this is shifting, but do you ever, in whether it's with Event.Gives or your other companies, do you ever leverage video of any kind or use video or like content marketing? I know you said you're not huge on social media, but
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
we did. So last year, we actually contracted a video production company
Mhm.
to produce content for us, and they did a
Okay.
phenomenal job. We chose them because their specialty was storytelling,
Mm,
and they came to several of our events, just brought a whole crew on site. They came
mhm.
to the office a few times, and they just captured lots of B-roll and stuff like that. But they captured stories. Not some was our story, why we're here, what we're passionate about, but a lot of it was the stories of our clients and their cause and how we helped them. So we got a lot of great video content, and it's still stacked up to keep dripping out in social media and our YouTube channel. So we're still waiting to see what the impact is, but
Mhm.
I know the content that was created looked phenomenal, and I'm super proud of the work they did. And I know we're getting something from it. I don't know how to quantify it quite yet.
Yeah, I was going to ask that next, how you measure that, but no, it's true. We specialize in high quality video filmmakers in Hollywood before we're now in Florida, but yeah, content is super important because especially if the storytelling aspect, you can put up a
Yeah,
pretty video, but if you're not really pulling on someone's heartstrings, it's not going to have as big of an
yeah,
impact. And then in terms of measuring the success of it, it's hard. It's almost like you have to keep it going for a while to really see. And it's more about like building that presence online than
yeah.
just immediate numbers.
And that's really hard for me
Yeah,
because I want immediate success.
of course.
Our marketing team says exactly, hey, it takes time. It's got to sit out there. It's got to be ready. And I know that as well, but I
Yep.
also am like, I don't want to wait. What do we do to
Yep.
make it go faster?
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
So are there any, because you're in the tech world, but are there any trends that you see in this? I'm going to also include business because I know we're not just talking about marketing, but in
Sure.
marketing or business that you see trending 2024. You've mentioned a few really great ideas for marketing, but is there anything that stands out?
I think if I had a crystal ball, I don't know how it's going to shake out, but AI is going to somehow be involved. We use it. Everyone uses it. It's a thing now. I think finding your footing there, and again, trying to bring it back to how do you use AI in a way that keeps authenticity. And I think if you can
Mm,
find that balance, it's going to be huge. I I love forums. I talked about it before. I think there's just going to be more and more of that kind of the web 3.0, maybe we're web 4.0, I don't know. But I think early web was websites, and then
yeah.
you had blogs become a thing, podcasts are now a thing. I think forums are going to keep rising up because people are I, I can read the blogs, but I can participate in forums. And I think
Yeah.
that's going to continue to grow, and more access to those is a place we'll probably try to double down on.
Smart. See, in terms of AI, that's a great point to bring up because we talk about that too. It's everything now is using AI. How do you leverage AI, and do you use it at all for marketing?
I'm gonna I'm gonna force this into a marketing conversation. It's a
You
feature
don't have
set
to.
it's a feature that we are very proud to market. I'll say that.
Okay. Okay. So go
Um,
for it.
and I am proud of this, the way we're using AI. So in our world, some of the things that we do for our clients is we support fundraising events where maybe there's a silent auction or a live auction. And then, of course, they're wanting people to donate. And
Mm,
my psychology degree is maybe creeping up, but there, if you're familiar, or people listening are familiar with personality assessments, particularly
mhm.
the DISC assessment, DISC. The idea behind that is it puts every individual into four categories of your personality, and you're a blend of all of them, but everyone fits, and it's very accurate. So we actually take those concepts and we use AI to say, when we write your call to action to donate for these puppies, or this disease, whatever it is, we're going to make sure to include phraseology that's going to resonate with each of those four personality types specifically. Or we have ways of knowing which one you are, and your call to action will specifically talk to your personality. And so
Wow.
the outcome is that you will more likely give, or give more, is the idea there. So that's something that we really market as a feature that we're super proud of. And I'll extend that to say, in pitch competitions, in maybe meetings where I'm selling someone on an idea, I think about that and I go, around this table of 12 people, or this room of 600 people, those personality types exist. And let me make sure in my message, whatever it is, I'm including phraseology that is going to hit that person that wants to hear direct impact. It's going to hit that person that wants to know, how is this creating social good? And it's using phraseology to hit those personality types to resonate more directly with each individual.
I love that. That's so funny. The last woman I interviewed, who's also she's an executive at a large company. I think it was also a tech company, but she was speaking about the DISC like assessment, which I've never
Yeah,
taken. Now I need to take it.
you should. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fascinating. So, and I'm sorry if this is repetitive, but when you to get someone's to figure out which personality they are, you send them. Is it that they take a test and then you go
Yeah,
off of that?
no. So there's actually a service that we tie into. It fascinates me. It's called Crystal, is the company. We use
Okay.
their APIs. And what they do, their database is largely fixed on people's LinkedIn activity. And they watch everything you do on LinkedIn and use that to say, the voice they use in that comment or that post or the groups they're in, whatever they are.
Yeah.
It uses other things, but primarily LinkedIn. And if after this, look up Crystal LinkedIn, you'll probably get there.
Yeah.
But there's a plugin you can install in your browser that any LinkedIn profile you go to, it'll pop out and give you that person's DISC assessment. And the idea
Wow.
is, it's saying, here's how you should communicate with that person. And it is so accurate. You'll do yourself and you'll see.
So
It's really
cool.
fascinating. Yeah.
That is so cool. No one has, that's really unique. And I think that's very cutting edge of you guys. That's awesome. Yeah, that's funny. So it's the second time I need to take that assessment. Fascinating. Do you, I was going to ask you something about something else about AI. I guess for, oh, okay. So in terms of, this is an AI, but you're bringing it up marketing and psychology. You said you had a psychology background and they're very like intertwined. I think people forget that. So you've mentioned a few ways that you are using psychology in your marketing tactics. Are there any other ways you find that your psychology degree comes in handy?
That's a good question. I think that's probably a big piece. I don't, I actually probably lend this more towards my law background. I think I'm self-described, and I think it's true, and I'm looking around to get validation from people here, that I'm a good arguer. I enjoy
Okay.
it, and I feel like you tell me the side of an argument, and I'll win either. I think that comes from more of my law background, but maybe a little psychology. But in that vein, I think being able to quickly navigate conversations, or in marketing, I'm trying to sell you on an idea or a premise, and being able to quickly, argue is maybe not the right word, but quickly banter back and address your concerns and be quick on that. I think
Mhm.
Lynn comes from a little bit of psychology, but I think a
Yeah.
little bit from that interest in law as well.
Yeah. No, law. I could see that for sure. And do you find that, I guess this works almost, I feel like that works with sales as well. If you're trying to sell someone something, I know marketers
Yes.
do selling. Um,
I,
yeah.
as you say that, it's striking me. So one of the things, so when I mentor, one of the programs that I'm passionate about is there's a program where we teach soft skills to young folks coming up or people trying to get out in the marketplace. And I teach sometimes about interviewing.
Mm.
And it comes from the same thoughts around sales, which is to say, wait, when you go to this interview, the first thing you need to do is oftentimes you're going to someone's office,
Mhm.
scan the room and look, see what's there. There's a picture of him fishing. He must
Yeah.
be interested in fishing. Let me immediately go, oh, I fished once. I caught that. Or let me point that out. And now he's telling me his fishing story. And it immediately goes from interview to us having a conversation, and all those barriers are broken. And I think you do that in sales too, to say, let me find a way to connect with you really quickly up front so that we're now just having a conversation. And I think even further, how do you translate that into a digital concept to say,
Mm.
let me somehow give you a little bit of value before I ask you for either data back or for you to make a decision back? And I think all of that kind of intertwines with each other.
For sure. And it's true. It's harder on the digital front, obviously, because you're not having that human connection. I think a great way that you brought up is the forums, because it is more of an interaction than just like, hey, buy my product. Yeah. That's really
We
interesting.
we have we produce a lot of like playbooks, and ultimately they're printable assets, but you
Mhm.
download them digitally. But that's a way that we found as well. To on our website, we go, here's an event playbook to success. Here's an event checklist. Here's what we've got like 40 different things that you can download. And the point for us is to give you some value. And of
Yep.
course, to download it, we need your email address, and that's
Mhm.
you're subscribing to us to now communicate with you, of course.
Mhm.
But that we found that works really well. You're now on our list, and we're in a conversation with you via email. But honestly, I like to look at what's being downloaded most. To me, that tells me what our clients care about, and we
Yeah.
should focus on that. So even from that point of view, I think it's helpful.
That's so smart. We do the same thing. We have a free download, if free ebook with digital marketing tips if you go to our website. But I love that you have different options because then
Right.
it does inform you more of what they're interested in. And then you could tailor it to that. So I think that's
Exactly.
great advice. If instead of just having one free asset, there's
Yeah.
maybe a few. And they don't need to be anything like really crazy, but you really,
Sometimes the stuff we think is so basic
yep.
is groundbreaking for other people that haven't done
Yeah.
4,000 events. So you forget that too.
You totally forget that. I always think I'm like, nobody, everyone knows digital marketing. And then I'm like, no,
Right.
but they don't because they're not doing it
Right.
full time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. So shifting gears a bit, but is there any advice you would give to someone who is looking to improve their marketing or to trying to get their name out and their stuff? You've provided us great examples, but just someone
Yeah.
who's like starting from the ground from nothing.
Yeah, so I want to bring in this concept that I really like. I talk about it in the startup world about product development, but I think
Mhm.
it can apply here, and I call it selling the ghost. Maybe your product doesn't exist yet, or the feature you want to sell yet, but sell it like it exists. You need to make sure you can back it up. But I always think about, don't deploy capital into something until you know you have someone to buy it. And so maybe that similar thought process, but underlying all of it, in the funny way I say this, that when people send me stuff internally, if they send me a screenshot of something, or I say, don't give me a picture of words. If there's a message, send me the message, not a picture of it. I think that really means, if you're going to put a message out there, make sure it looks super refined. If you look, this is very cliche, but if you look like $1 million company, people will accept that you are. And now you just have to be able to back that up. But if you don't look like it, it doesn't matter. No one's going to care about you. So I think aesthetics are very important. If your message, you can have the best message, but if it doesn't look good, no one's going to notice it. So I think aesthetics, I place a high emphasis on that.
I love that. It's very true. It doesn't mean you need to go out and buy a Ferrari and bankrupt yourself, but putting together a polished thing and just getting your ducks in order before you present yourself to the world, I think it's really important. People want to jump on, especially entrepreneurs. I think they get excited about an idea and then want to put it out there. Yeah, I love that.
And I think one tangible way I always like to say about that is, whatever you put out, make it look good, but don't make your logo bigger, make it smaller. Because
that's good advice.
the example I use is, if you look at a Dr. Pepper can, on the very back, very tiny, it says Coca-Cola, because that's who produces it. And their logo is as small as can get on that can, because the product and the message is what's shining, not your big logo. No one cares about it, right? And so to me, when I look at marketing pieces, the larger the logo is, the less polished it looks to me, the less experience I believe they have. So make your logo smaller and focus on the feature or the content that you want to put in the world.
I love that. Actually, it's very true. Somebody came to us recently with this massive logo, and they wanted to put on everything, shirts, hats, wanted printed, but they don't really have a company yet. And we were like, it's not like it's Gucci or Chanel, or you want that logo. It's not the same. Yeah, that's very good advice. Okay, we're wrapping up, but is there anything else you'd like to throw out in regards to starting a business, marketing, how you'd get your name out there? I know I usually talk about social media more. I know that's not your really like primary focus.
Yeah.
Actually, what I will ask you is, do you spend the time you do spend with social media and promoting your company on it? What do you tend to focus on? Or like you said, you do some video content. Is there anything you really think helps with social media?
I do. I'm very adamant on faces, smiles, people, and anything. But for us, we go even deeper, and we're not on our social media. We don't talk anything about product. We talk about people. We want you to see, here's who we are. Here's how we think about our product. And our core message that we put in the world is, we want to be more fanatical about your event success than even you are. And so that's the message we want to convey in our social media, is to say, look at us having fun at work. Look at us caring about this client and talking, interacting. And we're on TikTok and all the things. It's usually funny, stupid things, but it's giving you an insight into our world and who we are as real people. And that's what I think resonates.
I love that. And again, that goes back to authenticity that you mentioned early on. I think if you don't need to be super over the top goofy, but that always gets more attention.
Yes.
How would you say to a newer company or someone not leveraging social media yet, what would you say the importance of building an online presence is with social media, I guess? Would you say that, or for you, because obviously you guys are successful and it's not your primary focus. A lot of brands and businesses will solely focus on social media. Do you think that plays a large role?
I don't know if I'm not even going to say an answer, because I don't know if I have enough data to have the right answer. But anecdotally, what I think is that age-old thing of, you might not be getting a ton out of being on social media, but the fact that you're not there will be louder than the small footprints that you might have there. So
Yeah.
just have something, but don't be discouraged that you don't get 10,000 or 20,000 followers. But you not being there will make some sort of noise other than at least just having a presence, right?
It's very smart. I love that. No one said that before. And I think, yeah, it's like your competitor is going to have one. So even, and I love that you
Right.
said you don't need 10,000 followers. If you have an engaged community and it's small, that's better, obviously, than nothing. So
Yeah.
really smart.
And I think a similar example, a follow up to that is, so I've just launched a company recently, and we're selling the Ghost. We're getting interest before we deploy some of the features that we know we're going to build. But it's very important that we had a website out there, because we're talking with captive audiences. But immediately when we get off the phone, guess what they're going to do? They're going to go see if we have a website. And whatever that looks like, whether the product exists or doesn't, if it's not beautiful, they don't care what the words say. They just are going to go and go, that looks pretty polished. This is a legitimate company. I'll keep talking to them. And that's really what it's about.
It's very true. Even that's the same with social media too. We have a couple of restaurant clients and they had no social media, but people go to social media just to look even as a menu. They want to just
Right.
see pretty food. So
Yeah.
very good advice. Is there any piece of advice or anything else you'd like to leave our listeners with, whether it has to do with...
I wish I would have thought of this more. This feels like the drop the mic moment. And
No, sorry. It's also a really big question. No pressure.
I think, I guess I would go back to what sounds like has become the theme of this. Just be authentic and be real. I think that always will shine through.
I love that. And I'm actually going to ask you one more question. It's not totally marketing related, but if someone was interested in becoming an entrepreneur or just is inherently entrepreneurial, what advice would you give them if you could give one piece of advice?
Yes, I'm going to give you two.
Okay.
Sell the Ghost. I've said it.
Love that.
Do not spend time or money in a product unless you know you have, and I don't care, one buyer. And the follow-on to that is, don't take advice from people who haven't paid for your product. Sell it to them for $1. Don't care, but let them have skin in the game, because all your friends and family, anyone who wants to make you feel good about yourself, is going to tell you that your idea is wonderful until they have to buy it. And once they've bought it, they'll tell you their real opinion. So I think those two things is what I would tell someone starting a fresh thing.
Also really good advice. You got a bunch of wisdom.
Nuggets, just nuggets.
No, it's fantastic because you've done a lot. So it's great to hear. Thank you. And then, yeah, it's great. I want our followers to connect with you. So where is the best place that they could find you online, follow your work, etc.?
Yeah, Event.Gives. You can find us. We'd love to help you. If you have any type of event, that's what we do. I'm Sam at Event.Gives. I always say you can email me directly. I might not answer because my inbox is real big, but our team, support at Event.Gives. I couldn't be more proud of our team and our people here. That's what we do, and I'm super proud of it. That's how you reach us.
Awesome. I will put your info below. And thank you so much again. This was really awesome, and you gave a lot of great advice. So go follow Sam and his work. And thank you so much. We will be back soon with some more. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Thanks, Megan.